You are now listening to a member of the Disney Podcast family. Head over to Disney Podcast Family on Instagram to see all the latest posts for this show and links to other great Disney podcasts.
There was an idea. The idea was to bring together a group of remarkable people, see if they could become something more.
I have an army. We have a Hulk.
This is the Marvel Tribe, brought to you by Walt's Apartment Podcast and the DisInsider.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Well, just want to say, all you Marvel fans, I'm about to do a intro off the cuff. That means no notes, no script. I'm just going to wing it. So I'm joined here today by two awesome fellow Marvel nerds. I have the one and only Sam, the new girl, and our newest addition, the skip to my Lou, Mr. I have a million nicknames, Mr. Lou, who does it all. I was going to say the Lou who does it all Dobbs, but that doesn't fit. So
who also doesn't like anything.
Yeah, the Marvel one.
Lou Knight.
Yes. Lou Knight, yes. We have our boy Lou Knight here. Now, Lou Knight brings a very special set of, perspective, because he takes a very analytical and critical eye, which is sorely needed here, because it's easy for Marvel fans to fanboy our fangirl out and stuff. And Lou he absolutely is that kind of person that will brings us back to earth so we can actually look at the merit of things. So he rounds out this show. So I'm just kind of just dropping the ball here. I keep forgetting the pulse in your chest one. So feel the pulse in your chest so you know you're live. One love, one show.
One
it's
team,
the Marvel Tribe. Oh my God. I fail at my job. I swear, if my boss was watching this, I would be fired. Actually, what would happen is we would just have it pre-recorded, like we do for Walt's Apartment Podcast, and just hit play, and then it'll play, and we don't have to memorize this and stuff.
We should do that.
With that said, welcome to the Marvel Tribe.
We should.
I don't know why we don't. We should absolutely do that.
And I appreciate you giving me a solid intro on being a horrible critic. That's tight.
We love it. I love to give you a hard time about you hating everything, but you bring like thought-provoking things that I'm like, damn, like I wanted to like that, but now I can't.
My favorite one ever, though, is like when I just shot down Black Panther when as a D23, everyone's like, wait, what did he just say? And I was like, oh, maybe that was too soon. But no, and again, I appreciate being here hanging out with you guys.
Absolutely. All right, so this episode, we are going to be talking about the upcoming Secret Invasion with our main man, the Pinnacle Star, one of the original OGs, Nick Fury, who helped assemble one of the best superhero team-ups ever, the Avengers. So Nick, he is actually going to lead the way on this Disney Plus series, and we got two trailers we're going to kind of drop in, we're going to live react to. So for those who are listening, I think you're all listening. No one's watching. We're not that kind of live. But for those of you who are listening, you get to kind of hear us react, and we're going to break down some of the trailers and what we saw and what we expect. And just, we're going to do our Marvel nerd thing. So let's get started. We got the first trailer that they released. So we're going to hit play and react to this bad boy.
Here we go.
They scored big with Nick Fury. Sam Jackson playing Nick. So, I don't hear any sound. Do you?
Did you forget to hit the sound, allow sound in sharing, Lewis?
Is it not having sound?
No.
No sound.
Technical difficulties, but thanks for hanging out with us while we problem solve.
No, it's actually
Lewis,
it's more challenging this way. I can read. I can read lips. I heard Nick Fury say this mother.
So let's see.
I swear he said that for it.
And then at the bottom it says share audio.
Oh, that's how I do it. Now let's start this over and make sure first.
All right, let's do this. There we go. Now we got it.
All right.
Since you've been gone.
Since you've been gone.
I was thinking the same thing right now.
I came back.
It says Winter Soldier vibes all over.
Oh, yeah.
You're in shape for this fight that lies before us, old friend.
This is personal.
Very few of us know about the wars fought in the shadows that have raged on this planet. Do you feel responsible?
Where are the Avengers?
MI6.
This war is one I have to fight.
Alone.
You're the most wanted man on the planet.
You don't know what they have planned for you.
The great Nick Fury. One last fight.
The fact that this is going to be a Disney Plus series, like that is a feature film right there.
I was thinking the same thing while watching it. I'm surprised they didn't, but at the same time, I liked the nods that they've given in this trailer, saying it's a personal fight, because you know the average fan is going to ask, well, why didn't the Avengers just show up and help them? Why doesn't everyone? I would be stoked though to see some of the characters that we haven't seen in the MCU, or even like guys like Daredevil, stuff like that. Maybe something like that, like a cameo, to give them more preparation for what's coming. But I really hope they avoid bringing anybody that is in theater movies into this show. Leave that alone and let Sam Jackson do his thing.
I was just thinking, like, when are we going to see Valentina DeFontaine again? Like, could she come?
They're peppering her throughout.
Yeah, like I feel like we might get like an appearance here from her, and her, like Avengers that she's assembling. But yeah, I don't think that we're gonna get anybody like Kamala Khan. Like, obviously, like if they have, I'm not gonna say like without a doubt, because we never know what's gonna happen, because it's Nick Fury. Like Nick Fury can call on anybody he wants to call on. And we know that we're going to see him in Photon.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason they put Nick Fury in the commercial for the Marvels. I think we're going to see a little bit of that here. I know so here's the thing. I've always been a fan of the direction that Disney Plus went with using actual seasoned actors for their TV shows that's related to the movies. No one's done that before, and they're figuring it out. They're making some mistakes. They're getting things right. I think this is going to be one they're going to probably get right. They're going to have that kind of nice little blend, like you're watching a long, 6-hour movie or however long this is going to be, versus trying to cram everything into a 2.5-hour feature film and stuff. So
can we talk about why other people have not successfully been able to do that? Because like when I think about it, it's because Marvel is like Marvel actors are so ingrained in like, this is my story and I'm going to tell it. They don't want anybody else to come in and play their role in a TV show. Like they don't want, they're like, no, this is my role. Like nobody else can touch this role. So if you need to make a TV show, I'm going to do it because nobody else can do my role. Like they don't want to be replaced. And the seasoned actors are like, they want to be part of the MCU. Yep. So they're going to step into those roles. And sometimes they take less money to do those Disney Plus shows. And that speaks a lot to the MCU and the way that the MCU speaks for itself and that its actors speak for it, because they're like, no, this is my thing. This is my thing. You can't take this from me. This is my thing. So that's just something I personally love about the MCU.
And to your original question, I think we're going to see the Marvels in this because, if I'm not mistaken, the last time we saw Fury, besides looking for his shoes in space, the last time we saw him was right as Thanos snapped and he was calling Captain Marvel.
Well, we saw him. We saw him at the end of WandaVision.
Okay, yeah. So, but
he summoned Monica.
So even then, I mean, I think we're going to see that because it's almost like Charlie's Angels. Eventually, Charlie's going to come out, and we're going to see all three of them together. And I think but I wouldn't say we see them until the very end of the season, leading in to the Marvels.
I say like post credit. Like I don't think I personally think that we're going to get that. I say post credit. But speaking of Charlie's Angels, Maria, like I will watch Maria all day, Maria Hill. Like. So I
think Maria Hill and Nick Fury have some beef that they're going to have to work out and stuff because she's been trying to get a hold of him and he's been in vacation mode this whole time while the world's just kind of slowly going to shit and stuff. And
but knowing what we know about Nick Fury, he doesn't really take vacations.
No, he's always got something up his sleeve.
So she's going to figure that out really quickly.
But we're going to get the not buddy cop that we that we're used to with Maria and Nick Fury. Also, there's some tension between Rhodey and Nick Fury too and stuff. You know, Mr. You're the most wanted man on the planet right now and stuff.
They're like
you should be lucky. I mean, talking
children.
Yeah.
We also have Ross in there too.
Yes.
That's either hiding or on the run or investigating. I think that entire trailer is the first episode. It seems to be Marvel's pattern is they give us that first beat up trailer like all over the place, and then we watch the first episode. We're like, wow, this is the entire first episode.
So seeing Ross was what made me think about Valentina.
Yeah.
And I was like, at some point they're going to come together and create a team, or be fighting against each other at some point. So we'll see.
It's her ex-husband. I mean, they were married, which was a bombshell. That was a retcon right there and stuff. But I can see it working. I mean, yeah. So I think we see her because they are starting to pepper her throughout the universe here. Which means, I mean, they want to make sure that it's presence of mind that she's building a team. Whether that team is good or bad or whatever, which we kind of have a hint, based on who, we know who she is, but she's not building a very good team. She's looking for the outcasts.
Yeah, they're not like inherently evil.
No,
they were kind of the underdogs of the superheroes. They just were misguided.
They're the gray area.
Yeah.
Like I'll tell you now, like if she had her way, she would have Deadpool on her team.
For sure.
Because he walks the line all the time and stuff. So
because who have we seen her talk to now so far? It's been
John Walker,
Black Widow, right? Not Black Widow, but the sister.
Natasha. Not Natasha. What's her sister's name?
Elena.
Elena Belova, yeah.
So we've seen her talk to her, and if I'm not mistaken, those two have already been confirmed for Thunderbolts, right?
Yeah, there's a few that were, but it's rumor. I mean, okay. Since the return of Iger, there's been less talk about a few of these shows. even though Kevin Feige is fully in charge and stuff, we were getting a whole bunch of confirmations and everything from studios. And then, Iger hit the brakes and reshuffled some things and says, hey, we want to be more purposeful when we release these future stuff. We're not, we don't want to just throw a bunch of CGI shit and just, give it to the audience and stuff. So if it works, go forth with that. With that, the news has been kind of slowing down. We are going to get the Thunderbolts. They're kind of being more hush-hush, and we're starting to get some reconfirmation of things that we thought were already confirmed. So apparently, to me, that means nothing is fully confirmed now, post Iger and stuff like that. Like until we get a secondary confirmation.
And they can always go the Dark Avenger route too. They have a lot of tools that they can play with the characters that they have built into these Disney Plus shows.
And you guys are right. I mean, they could take a shift, whether it's because of Iger or other. There's obviously other news. I don't touch on it too much, and I know we've kind of shared on the live show. There's obviously the King challenges that are facing right now. So there's either Iger, pulling back on stuff, or they may have to shift hard anyway, because obviously the next saga is based around the one character. So it's very hard to see where they're going to go. But it also sucks too, because that was kind of backtailing a little bit. That was one of my challenges with Adam Warlock, because I felt like he got kind of forgotten and realized, hey, this character was in an end credit scene. How are we putting him back in this? Which after you guys shared it the last time we did our spoiler review, makes the most sense. But I just hope that they haven't set stuff up that they have to go back and change, because that can either make or break some stories that were intended to be really good.
I agree. So look, the MCU is going to take liberties from their original stuff, and we're well within over a decade of them doing that. So we should be it should come to be expected that that's what's going to happen. Like with Warlock, I feel, I'm going to be honest, I don't think Gunn wanted Warlock in that show, in that movie. He put it on there because they wanted a payoff. Kevin Feige, it's like, let's make this payoff. And it worked for the little bit of time he was in there, because he's brand new. He's a toddler, literally a toddler. Just fresh born and stuff, with a mission that his mommy sent him on to get revenge. So, and he acts like a toddler. He's doing, but he's just a toddler with Superman powers and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what he is. And I like how they introduced him, and he didn't take away from the overall Guardians experience. No, because this really was focusing on the relationship between them, Rocket, his backstory, his and the High Evolutionary was like the main focus and stuff here. So I like how they added him in as a supporting character. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, sorry, I was trying not to sneeze. So I think that adding him in was kind of a fan service, because I'm speaking for myself as a Marvel fan. When something is coming to a close or to an end, I need that next thing to propel me forward, that next thing to kind of look forward to. And so like the Guardians is coming to an end, and they gave us, that little teaser that was like, Star-Lord will be back. But they didn't really tell us, the rest of the team is still going to be doing their things, but they never really confirmed for us that we're going to get to see that.
Yep.
So for me, seeing Adam Warlock was kind of a fan service, because we know we will see him again. We know there is more to come from that character. So it's that thing to kind of propel us forward that we can hold on to until the next time that we get to see him.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of propelling forward and kind of bringing it full circle, and I'm going to throw this a question to you guys instead of trying to provide feedback. Where do you think Secret Wars or Secret Invasions is going to propel us to throughout that show? Because I think bringing up the scrolls, it's a smart move, but also too, you can go back and fix things and say it was a scroll and really change some things without having to give a lot of story. And I think this show is going to be a plug to kind of like what Loki did to us. How, hey, there's different timelines like that. And I think this is going to give us more of not necessarily time traveling, but just, hey, you never know who could be who and stuff like that. So I'm curious where this show is going to propel us to next. We also have one more.
I personally am wondering if this is going to be a close off to the Skrulls for us.
I hope not, because I feel like that would be a very short run.
Because there are other galactic entities that the Marvels are going to have to, face off against at some point. And the Skrulls, like, they introduced us to Miss Marvel. We wouldn't have had Miss Marvel without, that Skrull interaction. And I just don't see them taking the Skrulls that much further. For me, okay, we get it. They take on other people's identities. So do we get this kind of like peace compromise with the Skrulls where it's like, okay, we're not doing this anymore? Or do we get introduced to a bigger conundrum with the Skrulls that has to be solved later in the MCU? They have two definite routes they could take. But I'm not personally sure. For me, I think we might see more of a wrap up for the Skrulls for now.
So I kind of agree, and I agree in a sense. So here's what I see happening. During one, I think the whole thing is this is going to be a Nick Fury flub up from the original Captain Marvel. The reason why we have a secret invasion from the 90s till now, and we have some secret Skrulls, people we may not have known as a Skrull. They were a Skrull. I'm like, oh, they were a Skrull in that movie, and we didn't know that. But I do think there's going to be a conclusion in this sense. So you guys remember when Thanos was on his mission to cleanse the universe with half of the population stuff, and he came to Gamora's planet and took Gamora from her planet. That essentially wrapped up her species, basically. Even though that half of them got wiped out and the other half just remains, and she became the mainstay character representative of that. So when I say I agree with Sam, we're going to get some Skrulls going forward, but we're not going to get this. Here's the bigger they're looking for a new home. We got that from Captain Marvel. There's this big kind of geopolitical or universal political piece that's going on with the Skrulls. That's going to come to a resolvable end. Good, bad, or indifference. What we're going to get out of it, though, we're going to get some. So I think Talos's daughter is going to be a mainstay. She's going to be like a Gamora. We may get a couple other Skrulls that are going to be a part of either good or bad going forward into the Marvel universe. But the whole collective, that will be wrapped up or resolved I agree.
Somehow, there will be no more Skrull wars. We will have heroes, anti-heroes, and villains that are Skrulls. But as far as a Skrull American or Earth war, that is going to be wrapped up.
Yeah, it won't be a big plot point for the Avengers to deal with or fight.
But I do think we're going to see a hell of a lot of it in this series. We will see full-on Skrulls, or in this show, full-on Skrulls.
You guys ready for trailer 2?
I think, let's do trailer 2, but I want to say, I just want to say this real quick. I think they will be sorely missing an opportunity to have one of the Skrulls emulate a mutant and emulate their powers of a mutant that we recognize. It would be a travesty if they don't pull that off, because we're
Namor?
We're here. Okay. You say Namor? Anyone from the X-Men that a Skrull ran into is like, oh, that's cool. I want his power, or I want to look like him, so I think it'll be a huge miss if they don't give us a nod, if it's a cameo or Easter egg or something. So, but yeah, let's do the next trailer.
Here we go.
That invasion is here, Rhodey. And we can't even tell who the invaders are.
Fury, why haven't you called any of your special friends?
This war is one I have to fight.
Special.
Living on the edge to the end of our lives. Roof in the sheepskin telling me lies.
Alone.
This world is burning, and it was you who lit the match.
TikTok, Nick.
This is personal.
You're the most wanted man on the planet.
I changed the game just to keep. Well, Mama always said I was special. Marvel Studios' Secret Invasion, only on Disney Plus.
Whoa.
So
An invasion is here.
Oh.
So I noticed something.
Go ahead, David. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I noticed something interesting. I don't know if you guys caught this as well, but they keep highlighting. They try to frame the point that Nick Fury is fighting this alone. And I noticed something like when he says, this is a fight that I have to do. And then you hear a little music and then it says alone. That is not a complete sentence from him saying that. He does not say I have to fight this alone. He may say alone in the series somewhere, but it does not. They're doing some interesting trickery and stuff there. I just noticed the two different cadence in the way he said that. I'm gonna have to fight this. And then it does alone. So I'm like, okay, nope, it's not a complete sentence.
From what we know about Rhodey, there is no way that he is going to let a war go down on Earth soil without being involved and without doing everything he can to pull in the right forces.
Yep.
So I completely agree with that. Like Rhodey's, and Rhodey's used to like dealing with Tony Stark. Like, listen, dude, people are pissed off at you right now, but let's do this anyways. That's exactly that conversation that he is having with Nick Fury. Like, you're the most wanted man in America. What do you want to do about it, though? Like, let's figure this out. So that's the role Rhodey's going to play, obviously, because that's Rhodey. Like, Rhodey is American. Like, he is a patriot.
Oh yeah, he bleeds patriotic. Yes, he does.
He does.
And Rhodey and Nick Fury in this are giving me vibes that it's not them.
Mm-hmm. That's
the vibes, because they're showing a lot of that in the trailers and a lot of key scenes that are like almost two different Furies and almost. I mean, this one you didn't get as much as Rhodey, but we shared it a while back. There's a lot of little things that, I mean, it could just be, the way they filmed it, but Rhodey doesn't have, from what you can tell, he doesn't seem to be the Rhodey we have seen. He's not like, he's fast paced. He's like Rhodey from.
I say we get both.
And I think we're going to get a Skrulls Rhodey, and I think we're going to get a Skrulls Nick Fury. And I think a lot of that stuff we're seeing now, minus the gravestone stuff, because I feel like that's the real Fury showing up, but I think everything else is a Skrull Fury. And
yeah,
I don't know. And I feel like it's going to be a huge, but I'm starting to, again, believe that that's the first episode because it's a lot of the same footage.
You know what I'm super excited about? For us to sit here and geek out over every episode and be like, was that a Skrull? Was that not a Skrull? Like,
what was it? Was it? Yes. Oh, absolutely.
And like go over our clues. Like, it's going to be so exciting. Like,
well, here's the other thing too. I think that that Rhodey, this is going to inform Armor Wars. What better way for somebody to come in, the government to come in and say, we need to protect her. We don't know who's who. All this double agent, this Skrull invasions. We need Stark's tech, and Rhodey is going to be in the center of that, and I think it's going to inform that show as well as some of the movies we're going to see and stuff in the future. So I think this show is going to be huge.
I was just going to say, I take back what I said. If we don't see a cameo, I would not be surprised if we see Anthony Mackie's Captain America in this. And the reason I say that is because Rhodey was playing a lot of different roles in Winter Soldier and Falcon, and those two are like linked up. I would not. Will we see a big cameo? No. I think it's going to be something like not to go Star Wars, but Ahsoka and Mandalorian. One episode, a piece of it. We got our palate wet for it, and we're excited for it, and then that's it. But I'm not going to count Anthony Mackie out of this just yet.
I entirely agree, and I think it's a missed opportunity if they don't, because it has been too long since we have seen him since Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or since Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Like, it's been too long. We need to be reminded of him right now.
Yep. Reminded of him, but then also showcase him as the new Captain America. And that's going to help Yellow Brick Road, that movie, when it comes out, because based on that title, if it's still going to be the same title, A New World Order, and then you have this going on, it seems to play hand in hand.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, Earth is about to go through some turmoil, and I think it kicks off here at Secret Invasion. It continues on with Armor Wars, and then the movie Captain America is where it really kind of comes to a head, in my opinion, and stuff. I think the Marvels is going to have some pieces to it, but I think it's going to have its own storyline and stuff. So it's I outside of the many connections, like the Nick Fury and so forth. I think we're going to get the introduction. So okay, here's where I'm speculating, and this is going to be a big speculation. We know that Harrison Ford is playing Thunderbolt Ross. He's replacing the actor Soul who played him. We're supposed to get him in the Thunderbolts, but it more sense since he was supposed to be the Secretary of State who's vying for the presidency. I mean, just the way the comic art, it makes sense for that, especially when you have a movie coming out called Captain America: New World Order, that we get a Harrison Ford, either in this, somewhere in this, whether it's a scroll version, or in Armor Wars and stuff. I'm hoping here, but I think it's a lot to ask for all these cameos and stuff. I'm being how you say, a kid at Christmas. Like, this is the show that I'm like, ooh, I want a bit from the Marvels. I want a bit from the Thunderbolts. I want a bit from Armor Wars. Give me something from Echo. I want all this in Secret Invasion. But I know we're not going to get that. That's too much. That's not how Marvel rolls.
So
but
I have a question with that. So I asked it for She-Hulk, and I asked it for Marvel. So I'm going to ask it here. What is the one thing that if you see on this show that is just mind-blowing? Because with She-Hulk, you called Hulk's son. I mean, it came at the very last minute. So I'm curious to you guys, what's the one thing that if it pops up in this show that, whether the show is a complete bust or not, if that happens, it's an automatic high 8 for you just because that happened?
Unless you have it in the chamber, I went in the chamber already. If we get the Super Scroll, because let me tell you guys, all you fans who don't know what the Super Scroll is, it is a scroll creation that has all of the Fantastic Four powers. So he can stretch, like Reed. He can go invisible. He can turn into the Human Torch, and he can turn into the Thing and stuff. And he has all of these powers. So creation of a Super Scroll to help solidify the domination or the invasion of those four would literally send this to a 10 for me. Like, because I would lose my just the mention of the Super Scroll. I would just lose it.
Oh, okay.
I wish people could see my face right now because I wasn't even thinking of the Super Scroll remotely. However, we know we're getting the Fantastic Four. Like, who better to match wits with them?
So if they did that, I'm going to jump in front of you, Sam. If they do that, though, it would work perfectly because then, like we talked about a few months back, we don't have to get a Fantastic Four origin story. We could just jump right in where they're picking up, hey, this guy has all our powers, and like do a quick little like how this happened. And not only that, we're starting to see cast lists come out for Fantastic Four. So that could be the reason why this information is coming out, because they know, hey, we're going to be introduced here soon. But I hope they do. That's not the one that will make me lose my shit, but I hope they do, because that way we know we're not getting a Fantastic Four origin story.
At this point, I don't want the Fantastic Four origin yet. I want a jam-packed action movie. You can give me like your MCU origin story later, like, you know, break it up later, put it into a Disney Plus show. I don't need that in a film right now. I want action from the Fantastic Four. So I entirely agree with that. Oh, like, I was sitting here thinking like Anthony Mackie coming back would be my thing, but no, like Super Skrull wasn't even on my radar right now.
I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I didn't know all of that about the Fantastic Four. But the Super Skrull, I know he is in the comics, so I figured that would have been like a natural baddie. But I was not aware, I'm not that familiar with them to know that he was rocking all of Fantastic Four's powers. Mm-hmm. So for me, that would really even emphasize the show a little bit more, because again, that's just finally letting us know, here's a taste of the Fox stuff. It's coming. Not just yet, but it's coming.
And like, if the Skrull race as an entire thing kind of becomes like irrelevant, that is literally all you need. Like, to become anti-hero villain.
Yes.
The rest of the Skrulls can fall off. You don't need them to tell any more stories.
Nope. You gotta have some good Skrulls and a couple of bad Skrulls to continue on, and you know, to represent the whole community and stuff. And I think no better bad Skrull would be a super Skrull. Even if we don't get him, like we get a little bit of him or something. He's not the main. Obviously, he's not the main baddie and stuff. But I'm telling you, it would show like there's bigger things to come, bigger heroes we need to fight, bigger reveals that are going to happen. So for me, you asked the question. For me, it's if I get the Super Skrull instantly, I don't care what's the rest of the show's about. It's definitely going to be a high 8 to a 10.
See, I'm almost on the same wavelength. I was thinking anything of like Professor X, because I feel like a lot of the big heads are in this. You're coming together with a bunch of not secretive people, but people that we didn't think were there anymore. So to see the official Professor X in there of who they cast for that, maybe just kind of, I know a guy, whether that's Rhodey that knows him, like I know a school of gifted youngsters, that kind of like setting, just to get like an understanding of people that are not like us, but that have special powers. Because for Rhodey, who's unaware or aware of what this is, and I'm sure he's going to learn more about it in this show, he's going to take what he assumes he knows. And if you have an acquaintance, hey, I know a guy, kind of like the Tic Tac moment with Falcon and Ant-Man, something like that, where you just see him roll up to the school and you just see the Professor X logo, and you don't ever hear that conversation. You just know that's where he went. Something of the X-Men origin would be awesome, and that's what made me lose my shit, because, again, kind of what you mentioned with the Super Skrull, it's showing finally we're dipping our toes into the Fox realm now, because they tried to do it with Doctor Strange, and it was more of a fan service. I think we said that too. They did that because it'd be funny, but we're now realizing that none of that cast is actually coming forth for those roles. Obviously, I forget the character's name that played Monica Rambeau, but we're getting her back as a different character. So we know that actress, but none of those characters are coming back. So it'd be nice, and I would lose my shit if we start seeing the X-Men realm get dabbled a little bit in this.
Yes. So I was waiting for a way to transition into this question, but it keeps bringing up, and I've been meaning to ask both of you guys this, and it's a little off topic, but it's similar because we talked about Captain America. So I have to put this out there, and I hope you kind of understand where I'm coming from with this. Do you think? Well, two things. One, Do you think he's going to get the super soldier serum? Or 2, do you think he should get it? We should see a enhanced new Captain America.
No and no.
Okay.
Because Anthony Mackie as Falcon / Cap showed us that his hard work is badass. He can do literally anything he sets his mind to. He's enhanced in other ways through technology. I am okay with like the super soldier program being closed down because technically it's not like the most ethical thing in the world. So I'm okay with that. And honestly, like do I think that he is pure of heart? Sure. Do I think that his intentions are pure enough that he will not spin the other way? No. I mean, he's human living in literally this century. Everybody has like a little bit of a dark side. He's not going to be Steve Rogers. So personally, I think we should be done with super soldier serum for good guys. It's just not an ethical thing at this point for me. And I don't think that he needs it. I think that he has the tech. I think that he has the heart. I think that he has the stamina, and he's got the passion to just like go out there and kick ass and do what he's supposed to do for the right reasons. So I'm good with it.
That's such a hard question because I want him to get the super soldier serum because that means you're going to start seeing him on those big missions. And I really like Anthony Mackie as an actor. I liked him as Falcon. And I think that him becoming Captain America, the way it looks, is just super intense. And I want to see that continue on. But I don't think he's going to get it because I think we're going to see him become, and it's very disrespectful to say, but I think he's going to become your neighborhood Spider-Man, where he's going to start fighting that ground level attacks. Those, not necessarily street crime, but that ground level on Earth wars that we talked about just a minute ago. I don't see him plunging into outer space anymore or really taking on roles that he took on as Falcon. I see him just doing very much like Winter Soldier type, not what's the word I'm looking for? Not challenges, but like missions, stuff like that. So I don't think he needs it for that. I wish he'd get it because that means we're going to see him doing bigger things in the MCU, but I don't think he's going to get it because he's going to become the on-Earth superhero.
But we saw him doing bigger things before. He has the same tech.
He has the same tech, but I mean, there's that. We knew with Captain America, one, we're going to have him for a long time based on the super soldier serum. We knew he could do more if need be. Where, yes, Anthony Mackie did a lot of crazy stuff, but it was always he's just almost like Black Widow, just a very well-trained hitman, so to say. And so for me, I think it's that. As where if he had the super serum, imagine what else more he can do. So it's almost like you just blew the roof off that, and you're like, dude, we can really do crazy things with him now because now he, in the story, can do that. As where if he gets a bullet shot at him, I mean, he's not living through it, depending on where it's hitting him. So,
but for someone who wants the X-Men, who are already enhanced beings, do we need more enhanced beings, or do we need just our like regular, like full of heart, well-trained, technologically advanced superheroes?
I feel like that's a double answer though, because X-Men are a different type of enhanced versus Captain America.
The gene, it's how they're born. So this is the reason why I set this question up for you guys, because I have a theory, and I try not to have way long out there theories because I really want to have a theory about what's coming up. But here's my theory. So I'm going to answer the question first. Do I think he should? No. I think he should, like Sam said, he is that he's trained hard enough. He is a pure spirit. I'm sure if he was in the room to pick up Mjolnir, he'll be worthy. But is he going to? Yes. And here's why I say this. Marvel is messy. And we miss like we assume a lot of things are voluntarily. They're not voluntarily. And here's an example. So Captain America, the original Cap, Steve volunteered. He signed up for it, right? Bruce Banner, he did not sign up for what he got, right? We're going to get, I think, we're not going to get a Steve Rogers enhancement for Falcon. I mean, for Sam Wilson. We're going to get a Bruce Banner. And it's going to be either by force, a freak accident, or something. Whether because we're going to get, I think we're going to get Red Hulk because the serum exists still. It shouldn't, but it does. And we're going to get the accidental hero and stuff. Like he may even get proposition like, here you're going to fight for America. You want to represent America, blah blah. You need to take this serum, or we're not. He's going to get more of that crap that he always get. And he's gonna stay true and honorable. No matter what, even if he gets his butt kicked in some of the battles and stuff like that, he's gonna still say no. And then he's gonna get put in a position where he's forced, whether he's kidnapped, accident, or something happens, that he's going to get the super serum, and it's just going to be unleashed badass, and it's going to be tragic, but it's also going to be it's going to come out to be a positive thing for him. But I think he's going to get it. I don't see any other way for them not to do that, not to give it to him. He can be noble. He can still maintain his integrity because he's not volunteering for it. But something's going to happen that's going to force it up on him. That's all I'm going to say.
Do you think and no, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not the show to reference for this, but do you think that he gets hurt and they make the call for him to stay alive, that he gets the serum?
To save his life? Yeah, very much could.
That is very real. Like you just said, like he gets shot. That's it for him, right? Like,
because I like your theory, because in Falcon and the Winter Soldier show, once he saw the older gentleman that was a super soldier and how
Isaiah Bradley.
Yeah, thank you for that.
I was just thinking about.
He wasn't excited about it, so I could see him not doing it, but it being forced on him when it's not at his will because he's either dying or unconscious or by accident. Somebody wants to try to manipulate him, injects him with it, and it backfires on them. So I really like that theory. I like that one more than what I was
talking about. Getting a serum, I wasn't thinking about Sam. I was thinking about Isaiah's grandson getting the serum instead.
Eli Bradley, yes.
Become a Dark Avenger eventually, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct. So he's part of the Young Avenger. He could.
Is he Dark Avenger or Young Avenger?
He's a Young Avenger.
Okay.
But he's too young. That'd be a weird thing to put on getting a kid. I mean, the optics itself.
But what if somebody came in and was like, "No, we're going to take your grandfather," and he put himself in the way?
Or you have a Mr. Incredible type of thing where he's idolizing Anthony Mackie, following his footsteps. Anthony Mackie showed him his way as being strict on him, but then is too strict where he's like, you know what? I can do this without you. And goes the opposite route.
Nathaniel?
Huh? What's that?
Is his name Nathaniel?
No, it's Eli Bradley.
Eli. Why do I keep thinking the name Nathaniel? I don't know. I don't know.
So here's an extra twist, because I was thinking about Isaiah's story in this, and it was there for a purpose, and I think it would be the perfect catalyst and setup for. And I know it doesn't make sense. It may sound like it would be a villainous thing for him to do, but imagine Sam Wilson getting shot or getting mortally wounded, and it's Isaiah who has and kept locked away forever since he's been experimented on the secret serum. And he's the one that saves his life and tells him, if you're going to represent Captain America, do it the right way. And he saves and brings him back to life and stuff.
That would be hard. I would like that.
Okay, I could stand behind that. That is like the only way I stand behind, because like even as like, okay, I'm all about mortal superheroes. Like superheroes do not have to be immortal. Like that irritates me when people are, no, they can't die. They can't die because some of them are human, having human experiences. They are just badasses. That is how it is in the comic books. Like some of them are just badasses. And they work really, really hard to become what they are. So we saw Sam Wilson when he started wielding the shield. We saw all of the hard work that he put in. And I don't ever want to take that away from him and be like, oh, he could have just took the super soldier serum and, whatever. No, because he's a good guy. He is a good man. He has pure intentions. And I don't want to take away from the character and the moral compass of our superheroes. So when people are like, no, superheroes should be immortal, it irritates me. But if he were to get it from Isaiah, that would be like, that would set the stage for me. And that's not how it happens in the comic books.
It would close the circle, I think, the story arc.
That, and it would really play along with the entire Captain America trilogy that was before. It always had that foundation of that war mentality, leaving no man behind, doing what we need to do to have less fatalities and more success. So if they went that route, it would fall in place with Captain America's trilogy. And honestly, I think if they went anywhere near that, it would seal the deal on the whole, is this going to be good, or is this changing the ways? Like that right there would just seal Captain America's trilogy. Well, actually, what is it called when it's four? Is it quartet? No, that's bad.
Yeah, I think it's just
it's
I don't know what they call it when it's a four.
But I already know during that movie, if there's going to be a movie in the next 3 to 4 years that is going to bring me to tears and like crying uncontrollably in the movie theater, because I always cry, but like not being able to control it because I'm so moved, it is going to be that movie.
Now, I have a question on that, though, since we're on this New World Order topic.
Okay.
Do you think that is a standalone film by itself, or do we see either a second film or a trilogy of Anthony Mackie as Captain America, or is that going to be a standalone film, him becoming Captain America? I mean, if he doesn't get the serum, I think it's going to be a one film. If he gets the serum, I see us getting a second trilogy with Anthony Mackie as Captain America. But I have a question to you guys. Do you think that's the only film that we'll get? Will that be a start and finish to his story?
I think it would be a waste of the character.
Yeah.
It would be a waste of the character to only do a standalone movie. I think we get another trilogy. And I think at the end of that trilogy, our hearts get absolutely broken. But but honestly, like almost in every Marvel movie at this point, at some point your heart is broken and they bring it back and they give you this hope to keep going on, this will to like keep going on. But no, I don't think it's a standalone film. It would be an absolute waste of Sam Wilson's character and his new role as Cap to do a standalone film.
I agree.
I'm hoping that we get a trilogy out of it, because Falcon and Winter Soldier was probably my least favorite show, just based on what it was, like the episode after episode. But it had probably the deepest storyline of all the Marvel shows so far. I loved the storyline of it. I just thought visually, I would have enjoyed it if it was just a one set film. So I hope we get a trilogy as Anthony Mackie as Captain America.
Anthony Mackie is absolutely amazing. And so long as he keeps his side of the street clean, not to quote Taylor Swift, but like we know all of these flippin' Actors their shadows are now and interrupting the MCU and other Disney trilogies, franchises. As long as he keeps his side of the street clean, which I believe he will, because he's a very good man. I think we get at least a trilogy. I'm going to say we get a trilogy. Not at least a trilogy. We're going to get a trilogy. I don't think we're going to get more than a trilogy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's definitely the movie's going to inform what happens in the future of the MCU. He's going to be I think he's going to be a big or significant role in that. The show, I get it for, it wasn't my favorite, but it was up there. It was a good show because for two reasons. One, I knew he's going to be Cap at some point in time because it was already predestined in the comic books and stuff. So that answered that transformation. But two, and this was just by coincidence of one scene. This is nothing against Ryan Coogler, but this one scene really showed how incredibly badass the Dora Milaje is. Like unequivocal. Like if people had doubts, like how amazing these non-superhero, these are non-superhuman women who are protecting a superhero king who is enhanced. No, badass. And that was lost on people when Black Panther came out. But when they did this fight scene and they just kind of show, I'm like, there you go. That's the Dora Milaje that gets presented to the world. And it was unequivocally, they are the badass warriors on the planet who don't have any superpowers whatsoever. So it answered that for me. And I love this. I love that series for that.
When it comes to me, like the ultimate girl power in the MCU isn't Miss Marvel. For a lot of people, it is like, it is the Dora Milaje. It is the Dora Milaje because they aren't enhanced. They are well trained. Like I was saying earlier, they are well trained. They are disciplined. They are determined. They are passionate. They have their mission, their goal, and they are set out to just like kick ass and protect what is theirs. I am all about the Dora Milaje. Love it. They are the epitome of girl power in the MCU.
And it's been consistent throughout the entire MCU. When Okoye doesn't leave, like, hey, T'Challa's dead, and I'm loyal to that throne. Like you see it throughout the whole MCU, and they're probably one of the main characters in the MCU that it's been consistent film through film, whether it's a small cameo or a feature-length film. Their characters have been consistent through and through.
And the characters that are coming out through the connections of the Dora Milaje, like, hi, we have Riri Williams now. We have Ironheart. Like, she is literally being trained by the Dora Milaje.
Yes. They're her auntie now.
They are. And I mean, we have a new Black Panther. Where do you think that her spirit is coming from right now? Who do you think is like her force to keep going? It's the Dora Milaje. They're like, no, sis, you gotta go. Let's go. You're on this. Well, I mean, technically, they're like,
there's no weak women in Wakanda.
No, and I love it so much.
So I have one last question that's completely off what we're talking about now.
All right.
So news broke, Echo is dropping all in one day. Your guys' thoughts?
So this is a interesting test on Disney Plus's side because that's what this is. Echo wasn't really getting a lot of fanfare. Like a lot of people, like, oh, we're super excited for this. So it's a great opportunity for them to really kind of test the waters and drop it all out. I mean, they're like, Netflix is still around. They do this. We've been controlling how we, drip out content and stuff. But let's see what kind of reaction we can get with an existing within the existing universe and stuff, and deliver everything at once. So I see Disney, if this is successful, I see them doing this again with maybe not so anticipated shows that are related, whether it's in the Star Wars universe or it's in the MCU. I see them peppering and kind of making this a part of their playbook if this is successful.
But do not expect it for everything.
No.
For me, I think that they're going to realize that they're not going to get the fan feedback between episodes that keeps it in social media. Correct. So like for us, let's talk about that real quick. How are we going to cover that when we're covering it? Or do you guys want to watch like an episode, record an episode? No, hell no. We're not going to want to do that. We're going to be like, I want to binge watch this.
Yep.
And then we're going to cover it in one podcast episode.
Yep. Take a whole hour, 90 minutes, whatever, and cover the whole thing.
Exactly. Whereas if let's say it's 8 episodes, 7 episodes, whatever it is, they would get 7 hours instead of podcast coverage. They would get multiple social media posts. They would get us like sitting on the edge of our seats week after week after week, even if it's not highly anticipated. Those like true Marvel fans are sitting there week after week like, I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. I can't wait to see. Or they're putting shit out there like, this is garbage. But I'm still going to watch it because I want to complain about something. But they're still getting those social media posts built up over the week waiting for the next episode. They're not going to get that this time. They're going to get one lump thing and then it's going to be done. And that doesn't propel sales. It doesn't propel sharing of the media. So I don't think that this is something that is going to be a very consistent thing. I think, like David said, they're trying it. They're going to see that it doesn't really get the effect. It is the MCU. The MCU is going to get the following regardless. So if they were to give it to us week after week or all at once, you're going to get the following. You're just not going to get the same social media response spread out over time with duplicate posts and stuff. So I kind of think it's a dumb move. They should have just kept with what they were doing, but I'm not in charge. So
me, I have a lot of mixed reviews on it. My first initial one is I think they're not trying to compete with Loki because they come out simultaneously. So
okay, so then they should have scheduled the releases separate.
That's what I was thinking too. And then also I was thinking too, like, or is Echo not a? No, I feel like it's going to be because I liked her in Hawkeye, but do they realize that maybe, hey, this isn't a strong enough character where, hey, especially right now, Disney seems to be playing a caution ball. We're like, hey, we're going to drop it all at once. Everyone's going to stream it. It'll get that hype, that love, versus going week to week saying, hey, this last episode was worse. This last episode was worse. Instead of just, hey, pulling the Band-Aid, everyone's going to enjoy it. And not only that, 3 weeks later or 3 weeks before, we have Loki going. So therefore, it gets it out and gets it going.
But what you just said is they know that like they're putting out weak content.
At this point, I'm sure they know that their content is not hitting home runs. There's no way
they'll put it out.
But if you don't put it out, you just wasted that money.
Do some CGI shit. Do some shit in editing to make it better. Like, make it worth what we're here to see. But in that regard, there's probably a damn good ending that they know is going to hook us into the next thing. They're like, it's a slow burn. It's weak. It's boring. People are going to be like, blah, whatever. But they're going to keep watching to the end. And then at the end, they're going to be like, bam.
Here it is.
And there it is. I think
for the punch at the end.
So I agree with both you guys. I think this show, it's an obscure character that doesn't have a lot of fanfare attached to it. Even when Hawkeye came out and stuff, it's an interesting character, but I think it's not enough to carry that long, weak drip. So what's going to probably happen if it did decide to execute it that way? We would probably get a lot of trashing of this show, a lot of trashing of the MCU as a whole, saying it fell off, its story, whatever the thing is. And then we get that payoff at the end, and then you'll get silence, and you'll get some people saying, oh, that was great. So, dropping it all at once, you make it like a long binging movie and stuff. That middle part that might, as I'm predicting, might not be as strong of a story arc as most MCU stuff is, gets glossed over for the beginning and end. People will say good things and saying it started out good and it finished strong. There's some little pieces that in the middle that was kind of that you just have to get through and stuff. And that'll be the criticism. That's it. Mm-hmm. Versus you break it up week by week, people will, if it's not well made, people will eviscerate that show.
Well, yeah, if it's not well made, then there's already people that are like ready just to. As soon as Marvel's announcing stuff, they're like, "Oh, it's a flop." Like, really? We have nothing from it.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man,
I agree.
So June 22nd is where our next show is for the week to weeks.
Yes, this is when we start doing our week to weeks and stuff. So Secret Invasion. So we are. So where are we at? We are at an hour here. What's that?
We're going to be geeking out so hard trying to figure out who's a Skrull and who's not.
Oh yeah, rabbit holes are going to be the big part of this. So we're definitely going to say some outlandish. At least I know mine. I know my brain, and it's intrusive thoughts, and I know I'm going to say some interesting rabbit hole theories and stuff just from episode 1 within the first 2 minutes. I'm like, I already know that dude's a Skrull. This is how this is getting set up. Yep.
So we did the same thing with WandaVision. We were like severe rabbit holes. So if you're a fan of the tribe and you have not listened to our WandaVision recaps, in the meantime, before we get to doing Secret Invasion recaps, go ahead, watch those episodes of Marvel or of WandaVision again, listen to the Marvel tribe, and you can just geek out with us. It was the best thing ever. And get ready to do it with us again for Secret Invasion.
I'm ready.
Is that all we have for tonight, guys?
I'm ready too. That is.
Ready?
Just get the opportunity to geek out and talk about Marvel stuff. So
for sure. All right. So we thank you for joining us tonight on the Marvel Tribe. We will see you on Wednesday at our live show for Walt's Apartment Podcast.
Yes.
Peace out.
Marvel Tribe.
Marvel Tribe.